This is full bird private. And this is the Howa 1500. Okay, so as you saw, this is the Howa 1500 bolt action rifle. And on the surface, it looks absolutely unremarkable. There's nothing particularly interesting about it when you first see it. It works like a bolt action rifle, it shoots like a bolt action rifle. So why should you pick this one over, say, a Winchester 70, Remington Model 700, or a Ruger Hawkeye? Well, I'm gonna tell you. And it starts with the price. I got this rifle, as you see, minus scoping, out mount of course, for $450. And that's usually about $50 to $100 less, if not more, than most other competing rifles. So it's priced competitively and for a more entry-level shooter. So what do you get for your $450? Well, obviously you get the rifle. Well, what's so great about the rifle? It's a push-feed system, dual front locking lugs, and it looks a lot like the Remington 700 at first, and for good reason. The Remington 700 is a great design. But if you take the bolt out, you see something very different from the Remington 700, and that's the extractor. It's got a more, I would probably call that an M16 style extractor, and that makes extraction much more positive and much easier with less than desirable ammo than, say, with the Remington 700 series. Also, the safety is different. On most Remingtons, you only get a two-position safety, being this position on a Remington, where you can operate the bolt, but the trigger is locked out, or fire. On the Howa, you also get a third position all the way to the rear that locks your bolt out. And that's useful mostly for storage, if you really don't want anyone getting into the rifle, or if you're carrying the rifle perhaps with a round in the chamber, and it's maybe slinged on your back and you don't want to catch it on something and pulling one of your rounds out. Another great thing about the Howa is you get it in this really nice Hogue overmold stock. It's got a very soft finish to it. It's very grippable. It's really comfortable in the hand. It's got great stippling on both the forend and on the pistol grip near the rear. It also has a very nice recoil pad that really soaks up the recoil, and two swivel studs if you want to put a bipod or a rifle sling on it. And as with most other designs, it's got a drop plate floor on the bottom metal. If you really want to unload it fast, you can just do it like that. The trigger on this is, for a $450 gun, excellent. It's probably about a 3.5 pound trigger out of the box. It's very crisp and very, very clean. And probably better than most other budget priced rifles you're gonna get. Now also with the stock, originally Howas were priced in about the $400 range, and they came with a pretty awful injection molded stock. So, but they've just recently upgraded to this Hogue stock, and aftermarket this is an $80 stock. So you're getting a $400 rifle with an $80 stock for an extra $50, which is a great deal. Now the Howa itself is a pretty unknown manufacturer and weapon. They're actually made in Japan, but they're excellent, excellent guns, and the company has a lot of history, dating all the way back to World War II, making the Arisaka rifle for the Imperial Army. They also currently make the standard issue rifle for the Japanese Self-Defense Force, so they have a lot of experience making rifles. So a lot of you are probably thinking by now, if this is some rifle that no one's ever heard of, how am I going to find bases and accessories for it? Well, Howa has helped you out with that one, especially with the bases, because it uses Remington bases. If you have Remington bases already, as long as they're not one-piece mounts, because the distance is different, even on the short actions, you can slap them on there and you're good to go. If you want a one-piece mount like what I have on here, you're going to have to make sure you get the proper Howa specific mount though, because even in the short action, the Howa has a longer bolt and a longer entry and ejection port on the side. Another issue that comes up with the Howa is reference to getting other stock options. Unfortunately, that's not really an issue because most of the most popular stock manufacturers make stocks for the rifle. Hogue obviously makes their overmold stock, and fortunately you don't need to buy that extra because the rifle comes in it. But if you're looking for an upgrade stock, Bell & Carlson makes several stock models for the Howa, as well as Macmillan. So another problem that comes up is gunsmithing, and that's because the Howa is made in Japan, so it's made in metric as opposed to most other designs that are made in the United States and in standard or imperial, depending on what you want to call it. So if you really want a gun that's really easily gunsmithed, you should probably look for a different design. But if you like the Howa like I do, and you're willing to look for it, it's not actually that hard to find a gunsmith that'll work on a metric design. I really love this rifle. I would take the Howa over pretty much any design on the market right now. It's got great ergonomics, just as you expect from any kind of quality bolt action rifle. It's very accurate. I have, at times when I'm doing my job with decent ammo, gotten 1 MOA groupings, and I'm sure with match ammo and a shooter better than I am, that could be repeated on a regular basis. Overall, it's an excellent weapon. It's at a value price, and it would easily be worth it at probably twice what they generally ask for the system.